This is the Todd Atkins Show, okay? We're talking about Todd Atkins. I've known him for a very long time. Fantastic person, handsome person, and a really tough guy, okay? You're talking about a tough guy. He talks about combat sports. You're looking at Colby Covington, fantastic people in combat sports, and Todd Atkins is a highly respected person. He talks about it all the time. He's got a great show. You're watching the greatest show, okay? The Todd Atkins Show, and you're watching it. I would not want to pick a fight with Todd. I would not want to pick a fight with Todd, so don't miss it. He's got the greatest people and the greatest show. Not like the fake news, okay? He's a great show, highly respected, and you don't want to miss it, believe me.
All right, this is Todd Atkins, and I'm here with Raphael Santana. If you guys watched my Guantanamo Bay episodes, Raphael was the guy on those episodes. He was the guest on those shows, and I think a lot of people watch those shows actually. And so I brought him back to discuss. We're going to discuss the Tim Kennedy allegations that he fabricated some stuff in his book and whatnot. And just for people who maybe didn't see the episodes of Raphael, maybe you could tell people who you are.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Todd. Raphael Santana, retired U.S. Navy, 22 years. I've worked as a navigator and engine operator, and I finished up as a master at arms, military police, everything from like base security to executive protection. So, been around the block a little bit. So, I'm no special forces guy, but I know bullshit when I see it.
But you did transition some of your military experience into.
I did, yeah, yep, sure did, yeah. I retired. I have my HR 218 Leosa, and a lot of these places, when they hire you, they want like people who has a concealed carry. I basically have like a federal concealed carry. So that's have gun will travel. That's pretty much what it amounts to. Uh, Helps you transition. Money's good, nice schedule. You can't be nice gig after retire.
Yeah. So, for people that are watching this, he can kind of relate to some of that as he used some of his experience to transition into something similar at
Yeah,
times.
now that I think about it, when I apply for jobs, I won't say I work at, I don't want to disclose what I, who, where, whatever, but I'll apply for work or I'll work with guys, and it's like, hey, why am I not on this one job? Like I got the background, why am I not being let in? Because some of it's kind of clicky. And then you'll see guys like, oh, well, this team has X amount of guys, military, whatever, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, okay. And then you look at other details and you'll see guys that you worked with in the past who are total shitballs. And it's like, yo, I can't get in that detail, but that guy's he's on that detail. Like, how? And then I ask around people who have a little more experience, and they're like, yeah, there are a lot of people they'll embellish their they're good on paper. They make themselves look good on paper. They kind of embellish a little bit, really like doing a deep dive on their resume, right? If you look at just the surface, it looks cool on the surface, but they actually dug in, they would find stuff, and you'll see guys around like this guy's making this with his money, and you're like, whoa. And then the big telltale, usually, in my experience is, we'll go to the range. Now, I'm no John Wick. I was a marksman instructor in the Navy in my last few years. But I'm basic stuff. I'm okay. I can get rounds down range. I can defend myself if need be. I haven't been in like combat, but hopefully, it's like I pay to do, right? And I'll be out there like, I see a lot of like former police officers, and you'll see them shooting, and you're like, that guy was a cop. Like,
Yeah.
that guy's a retired cop. Like, he can't hit the broadside of a barn. you know. But they use that, like they use that former police gig to get work, and like I see a lot of guys in my field and other places. Oh, this guy's on this team because he's a former cop. Executive protection. I'm like, those cops don't train in that. Oh, because he's a cop, he just automatically knows how to protect somebody. Like, no.
Right.
So in Tim Kennedy's case, right? what he's doing. I don't know. I just I haven't read his book. I'm not a fan. Like I'm not saying I just like the guy. It's content I don't really consume, right? Uh, I thought he was an average, maybe above average fighter at best.
Well, he was a champ in Strikeforce. We got to give him that credit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, I'll give him that. Yeah, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
But when he came to the bigger league, the bigger fish, he was average, maybe above average at best. From my view, you got more experience as far as who's better and what. But yeah, I think he used his experience, his background to get into maybe Strikeforce, which was a small promotion. Got established there, big fish in a little pond, and he just kind of used that, and he's probably getting deals, and he's got like I could see him getting coerced a little bit, like what's a little white lie here and there, right? Like, hey man, I ran 2 miles in 20 minutes. I ran yesterday. But if I call Todd Atkins, I'd say, oh, I ran a mile and a half in like, 1958. What's a little white lie, a little shaving of the truth. No one's really gonna notice, like, and like anything else, it just kind of snowballed. He got kind of big. I don't think he's huge. We saw his followers, right? So like 9,000 followers on his page or something.
Yeah, I looked. He got out of active 2009, and that's when he started Strikeforce career. He was already fighting though. He had fought, some other.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
when he got into Strikeforce, is kind of right around the time he got out of active and transitioned to guard. So you're
Yeah, and then
probably right. He probably did use some of that stuff to.
yeah, yeah, and like I said, we are talking earlier about like Gary Goodridge, how he got in the UFC. He wanted in so bad, he just lied, right? And they're like, you didn't have any fight experience. He's like, no, I just lied and said I had all this shit, and I got in, and then I'm not saying he went that far. Like I think what he's getting right now is a bit. I don't know. It might be a little bit overkill on the guys criticizing him. I don't know. Like I was in the army, right? So I can't like go in his uniform and be like, oh, the V for Valor. I don't know. I don't know. Not saying I don't care. Just hey, man, I wasn't in the army, but I think he probably embellished a couple of stories way out of control, and people were like, I guess maybe guys were tolerating it. Like, oh, that's bullshit, but whatever, it make his money. And then he just kind of like, he just kept going. Kind of like a kid at school. You hear him talking, and you're like, oh, it's just Rafa talking, He's always telling stories. He's kind of tall talking. And then one day you're like, whoa, okay, that's bullshit. And then you get mad and you start going in on this kid, it's kind of like the same deal, but he's getting it from like guys in his community, right? Like these are, I don't know the background of these guys. I mean, they say they're SEALs and whatever. I mean, why are they going there and lie and make shit up on the internet now, right? So they're probably legit, right?
Yeah, they're Green Berets and SEALs and people like that.
Yeah, they got experience, whatever. They've been in the shit, whatever. So they know the background. So like, if they're calling you out, man, hey, man, you're probably lying. Now, to flip it around, those guys are all talking all this shit, but I don't think any one of those guys could beat up Tim Kenny in an octagon. I mean, they said to his face,
Right.
they'd probably get beat up. So it's a little bit. I think from what I'm seeing, there's a little bit of keyboard warrior stuff. Like I go on YouTube, whatever. I look. Like I watched the guy this morning. He's an army guy. Who's talking all tough and mad, skinny dude. Typical like lengthy, dude. And he was like furious, and I was like, yo, he's like halfway furious because he wasn't special, and then halfway furious because the guy's lying, and he just, I think a lot of the hate is maybe a little overkill. But I guess in that community, if we're making these little white lies, it kind of makes them all look bad. Because I think I saw what I noticed is that like the SEAL guys, they're all Hollywood, right? They're like they're tall talkers. They get all the movies, blah 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 blah. And then the army guys, they're more. I guess they're more quiet. They don't really brag, or like Delta guys, who those guys are. They don't really brag that much. You don't see too many movies on Delta Force guys. It's always like Navy SEALs, like talking tall, right? And I think now they're probably like, hey, he's talking way too much now. Let's go ahead and rip him a new one. But I haven't read his book. I don't know what in his book they were saying, like, was another lie they're accusing him of, that he was an honor grad in Ranger School. And then I'm just looking at these little clips, and they're like, oh, that was like 20 years ago. I was like, okay, man, now you're pushing it, bro. If you were an honor grad, those are things you remember. Like, And he's like, I think he said, "Oh, I was one of the honor grads." Like, there's only one. There's only one. There's not two or three honor grads. It's the military. We don't have multiple honor grads. The military hasn't gotten that woke yet. So he said that, and then I saw his rebuttal, and like the way he was sitting in his rebuttal, right? The way he was just like, "Yeah, mom." And then you know what happened? And I'm just saying this. Like, he's like telling a story to mom, right? So his body language, says otherwise. That he's kind of like making up for his lies. And then he mentioned what else he
I
mentioned?
think they said he had a Medal of Valor, which he apparently doesn't.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that can be kind of serious in the military to say
That
to do
is,
that.
yeah. When you
Even
advance
for
those,
guys like you and me, I mean,
oh yeah,
if I said
well,
I had a Navy Commendation Medal and I don't,
yeah, like
or whatever,
yeah, like it's funny, like some vets don't lie to civilians, and civilians don't way better. Like the guy running for office, that Tim Waltz guy was like lying about, oh, I was this, like what, like, and then all the vets like, yo, you're full of shit. You weren't that. It's like a lot of vets start embellishing a little bit to look cool in front of like civilians, but like yeah, those kind of awards, you know, and when they catch some guys, like I don't remember. We were in around the same time. When I joined the Navy, we had the guy in charge of RTC at the time, or the second nav at the time. I forget what his position was, but I remember it was Admiral Mike Borda was his name.
yeah, I know. He killed
Admiral
himself,
Borda.
right?
Yeah, he killed himself because he got caught with stolen valor. He doctored up some awards, he made it up and submitted it, whatever, and he killed himself over stolen
Mhm.
valor. So I mean, you can't be just making that type of shit up. I mean, and that was back in the '90s. This guy, lied about Vietnam and doing all this cool stuff. I don't know the details of what he lied on.
I think I met him maybe at one of the, because I worked for an admiral out in Japan, subgroup
Yeah,
7.
yeah,
I think I met Borda. I'm trying to remember what it was for, but
yeah,
I recall
so,
meeting
yeah,
him.
yeah. I mean, fucking. Yeah, why would you make up those kind of awards? Like I think the highest thing I ever got in the military was like a Joint Achievement Medal. Like I never got anything more, anything or that's it. Good conduct, nothing like crazy. I got some cool write ups, so I wasn't like high ranking enough or cool enough to get like anything above. That's the coolest thing I got was the joint service thing. That's it. So
Yeah, I mean, but like if you or me, like if, for example, the submarines I was on or any command, if I was wearing an award I didn't have, that would be a big problem. Someone found that
yeah, yeah,
out. Like if I went to a new command and I'm wearing some award I never got,
yeah. But
and they found
it's
out, that would be a big problem. That's not something
yeah,
that
but that's when
they
yeah
wouldn't
that
say,
but
oh,
that's
that's
when
okay, no problem.
yeah, but that I mean
No.
that's when you're. I think it's different because that's like when you're in active when you're on active duty and you're within you're active duty and you show up to the command with something you didn't wear, you can get punished for that, right? He's I think he's still a reservist, right? Or
Yeah.
National Guard.
Hmm.
So he's like he's like showboating for fucking civilians, right? Like is his command gonna like take him to NJP as a reservist? He can just get out, like it's I'm like, for me, I'm a civilian now. Like, guys want to be, stolen valor or whatever, and make shit up. I wouldn't waste my time outing somebody, but what was that podcast? That outed him,
The anti-hero podcast.
anti-hero podcast. I probably should go watch some of their stuff. Like, I'm real picky about what I listen to or watch. I guess it's not something I'm like, oh, because nothing I can relate to. Like, oh, we're all special forces guys. Like, okay, I'm not special forces guy. I don't need to watch that. If I want to hear a story or no story, I'll buy a book or something.
Hmm.
Uh,
But it was like you're saying about Luttrell. We were both shocked to hear that.
yeah, that one kind of
You
hurt,
know?
man. I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, that movie came out like what? Like, I forget when the movie came out, and
Yeah.
here I am. I'm 47 years old thinking he's like this badass dude. And then I watched that guy, the angry guy today. I forget what his name is. Let's call him angry guy. And I was like, what? He ran away and hid. And then like, yeah, and then the real truth, the real guy was, Axel. He was there for 10 days after they recovered that guy, is what I think I heard correctly. I'm like,
Hmm.
what? And I mean, So I mean, all this time I'm thinking like, what a badass dude, whatever, and like you ran, like you hit out, and you're a fucking what? Like I was
Yeah,
fucking baffled. Like it's almost like hearing, like I said, like hearing Superman is like the weakest dude from Krypton. Like he was a Krypton, but he was a nobody.
yeah. And
Uh,
I think the reason that they said Axel was found so late is because when they the Green Berets that were the ones who went and got Luttrell wasn't other SEALs, and when they did get him, they asked, "Hey, where's the other guys?" And he said they're all dead, and they're like, "Well, where are they?" And they're up on the mountain up there. So they didn't kind of like they kind of slow rolled their search because they're like, "Well, if they're dead, we don't need to be go out of control. We'll take our time, be methodical." And that's
yeah,
why,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow, man. Damn, man. How can that guy like? I've seen him like speak at like political stuff too, and it's like, how do you walk
Hmm.
around doing that shit, man? How do you like? How can you live with yourself? Like, and I never, and like I said, nothing I really follow. I'm like, how do they? How do you like? How does he function in his community? That SEAL community. Like, they're all so cool with him. They're all like,
Functional, period. I mean, that would be hard to function, period, knowing that you
yeah.
did that.
I'm just curious, like, why? I'm just curious, like, maybe I'm living in a cave or something. Like, because this is the first time me hearing about this. How
Yeah.
come? Why aren't they all like bashing him and like fucking like why aren't they bashing him on channels and stuff like that? Like, I'm just hearing about it now.
No, they are. The anti-hero was the one that first did it. And I think
When
that
did it,
episode,
when did they first break that? When did they first
I want
like?
to say maybe within the past year, you
Oh
know, yeah, it was not that long ago. And like you're saying, that movie's been out a long time. So people like you and me thought this stuff was true for years and years and years.
yeah,
And
yeah. There's a
this guy's
fucking
like, yeah, I hate to break it to you, but this stuff isn't true. You
man. He
know?
wrote a book. Like you do movies off of books. A book. Is the book titled fucking fiction or nonfiction? Right? It's nonfiction. It's a nonfiction book, right? So I mean, they should go back and change that book to fiction, I suppose, right? Or is there a disclaimer? Like,
Well, it's like
yeah,
we
that's
were talking about offline. The military came to him and they said, you can be the guy that ran away, or you can be the lone survivor in this book and in this movie. It's up to you. Which would you rather be?
man. That's where did you hear that at?
Well, that's what they were talking about. The guy that was on the anti-hero podcast, the guest they had.
Uh-huh.
The military is a pretty embarrassing situation operated from Red Wings to begin with. They lost the guys, then they lost the whole chopper full of guys that tried to come and rescue them.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was an embarrassing situation. So they used it to their advantage when he survived to say, okay, you can be Marcus Luttrell, the lone survivor, or you can be the guy that ran away. You can decide which one you'd rather be.
What the fuck, man? No way, bro. And they're
Because
just
they
breaking it.
wanted to make a movie about it and a book and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he was the
yeah.
only guy that survived that mission.
Yeah, I think like I said, what really rubbed me the wrong way was they picked him up, and then that guy was there for 10 days after the fact. I believe is right? Is that
Mm-hmm.
correct?
They said Luttrell shot like not even all, just one of his mags was, he had shot like some of the bullets from one, but the rest were all full.
Damn, man. Yeah, that's some scumbaggery right there, bro. Like my big thing about me is we're out with your buddies, like we're in the being in the military, like, hey man, you're supposed to have my back, and you fucking ran
Mm-hmm.
like bar fights, whatever, like that's not cool, man. That's disappointing to hear, man.
And those guys knew for a long time, probably because the ones that found him, they knew that he hadn't shot all his mags out.
Oh, the Marines. What's funny is those. I
The
always.
Green Berets that rescued him knew that his mags were full.
Oh, I thought you said the Marines rescued him.
No, Green Berets were the ones who rescued him. The Marines were the ones who were supposed to be doing the original operation. They had been up in that area before.
Okay.
And they were asking to use, they had these choppers that were assigned to the SEAL teams. the Marines wanted to go back in there. They didn't have, I guess they didn't have the choppers at the time or whatever. So they said, hey, can you guys take us in here? And the pilots were like, no, but we can take our own guys because we work for these guys, these SEALs.
Uh-huh.
So they took it over, the whole
Because I remember, I don't know,
operation.
I remember, I don't know if it's the same. Like I'm like rewinding back here in my brain, like new stuff. I remember a couple things in history as far as being like Iraq, Afghanistan, and I remember that I don't know if it was the same. If it was still the same rescue mission for the guy for the trail and whatever, but there was a chopper that was going in, and they took an RPG, and one guy fell out of the chopper, of the helicopter, and they're like, "Yo, we lost a guy." And I guess they said they looked down. I think it was a SEAL, and they looked down, and the guy was on his own, and he was getting engaged. He was getting engaged by Afghani guys, and they had to go back down again. He got killed, and a bunch of other guys got killed. I don't know if that was part of that particular mission, And then I remember vaguely when they from the Zero Dark 30 movie when they blew up that
Yeah,
compound. I remember that hitting CNN, like, yo, this compound got hit, and then wasn't the
yeah.
movie. I'm like, oh, that really I remember that. That's a real deal, man. So it's funny how some movies are like accurate, they're pretty spot on or close to, and then but this one, that's a big disappointment, man. That's a huge disappointment.
Or Rob O'Neill, they're saying now he won the guy who shot Bin Laden.
Yeah, like I've been hearing that for a few years now, and that's back to the whole Hollywood SEAL thing. Like, I mean, that guy's on like Fox News. He has his own beer. You know, uh, I think I saw something. He just got arrested. I guess a few months ago or recently. I guess
For what?
yeah, I guess he was. I forget which page it was. There's an old Marine guy who like does a bunch of stuff. No, it wasn't that guy. It was a couple other guys. I forget who they were.
Let's see.
And they're like, oh, look who it is. It's Rob O'Neill. I guess he was talking shit to a bouncer at a club, whatever, and using
Wow.
N. Yeah, I guess he's a real scumbag. And from what I'm hearing, like rumors for that raid, they were saying that the guy was a real douchebag, real scumbag, a liar. And I'm like, if you shot Bin Laden, why'd you get out? Like, and if you didn't kill him, who really did?
I'm reading this. It says misdemeanor charge of assault, public intoxication. Yeah.
Yeah, public intoxication, and I guess now he's trying to sue with countersuing or some shit like that. Like, yeah, but I mean, dude, he's on Fox News.
Yeah.
Like as a like a subject matter expert, or and he's a guest. I'm sure they pay him, right? I mean, that's not really stolen valor, right? I mean, he's on the mission. He's on the operation. Did he shoot Bin
I
Laden?
wouldn't say I shot Bin Laden if I didn't. Me personally, I wouldn't.
Yeah, me either. Yeah. Like,
I don't know
hey,
why the
man,
guys feel the need to do this. If you're on the mission, isn't that cool enough?
yeah, I
I
don't know.
guess not.
And why is he getting away with it?
Yeah.
That's what I get. Like, he still says, "I'm gonna shot Bin Laden." He's still doing it. He's still like, "I'm gonna shot Bin Laden." Right, and no one, and then everyone's like, okay, he didn't really do it, but that's what he's saying. And he's just sticking to a story. I don't know why you would do that, but no clue, man, no clue.
Why do you think guys like Kennedy, the military mentality that, like average civilians, why do you think these guys embellish or lie so much?
I mean, I think it's like relevance, right? Because you look at the grand scheme, you look at everything. You look at anybody in Hollywood, the actors, whatever. Like you gotta remain relevant, right? So, he was probably, I'm guessing maybe an average Green Beret. I don't know. Like I mean, I know a guy who went to sniper school, Army sniper school, right? Uh, I probably couldn't pass sniper school, but like I don't think it's like super difficult to pass, right? Probably average guy started fighting, cool background. Okay, we can develop this guy a little bit because I mean UFC. I mean, it's kind of got a little now. It's got a little bit of that WWE feel to it, right? Um, and then I think in order to stay relevant, you got to like embellish some stories. I'm not knocking him for it too much. I mean, making up being on a grad ranger school or faking an award, that's a bit much for me. But like talking up talking up, a mission or a firefight a little bit. Okay, I can see it if I'm reading a book and it's like I shot 5 rounds and the guy was dead and then the mission was over. Okay, well, that's kind of boring read, right? So you want to, and then you got like, you know, he said in his book like, oh, that was a publisher thing, that wasn't me. Okay, now you're blaming your publisher. But if you have,
Hmm.
those core values, integrity, right, like doing the right thing, no one's looking. Like, hey man, like you knew this was wrong in your fucking book. It was there's no disclaimer in your book, I imagine, saying, hey, based on real events, not everything's factual. Okay, now you're lying. But I think it's just, and I mean, think about it. I mean, let's zoom out for a second, right? Let's just zoom out for a minute. Let's put ourselves in this guy's shoes, right? Let's think like you're in the military, okay, you weren't making that much money. Because I'm a civilian now, I make way more money out there in the military, right? And you're getting this really nice paycheck and you're getting all these fucking deals, right? You know, it'd be kind of hard not to like, kind of tell some white lies to keep keep the money coming in or make your shit sound exciting. I always think about writing a book, but I'm like, fuck, would anybody read my book? I'd have to like really talk up some shit. I'd have to like doctor up some facts. I'd have to like throw a little spice in there to make it more cool, right? You know, and eventually you get. I don't think he's a huge star. He's not. I haven't seen many movies. I don't think, but like to keep up that persona and stay relevant, and it's social media, so it's all about how many followers you have, and so I think that's the motivation why, and they're getting good money. It'd be hard for anybody to like not like embellish truth a little bit, keep the money coming in, you know.
Maybe your book could combine that you're a wrestler and your military life.
Yeah, maybe. I think if I wrote a book, it'd be like I'd probably care like younger people, like all my ignorant stuff I did. Like I've been in this many countries chasing chicks. That's cool. Like I could tell, like getting lost, doing stuff like that. That might sell. But in his case, I don't know what his book's about. I didn't look at it. I didn't. Did you read his book?
I haven't read it, but I heard that he said he had another thing they talked about was like he destroyed like an
Oh yeah, he
Afghan
destroyed
with like 25 grenades.
like 25 grenades. Where do you get 25 grenades from? Like,
Yeah.
you carry like 25 grenades? Where you have a satchel of 25 grenades? You're fucking lobbing at this fucking building, like that. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. I don't recall guys carry. I mean, I don't do like that kind of combat loadout. But when I see it on TV, like why would you carry 25 grenades? Where are they in the fucking Humvee? What? I read the book. Like I don't know. Do you mean 203 rounds? Were you lobbing 203 grenades at it? Is that what you're referencing? We're using high explosive 203s on a structure? Maybe, but that's a bit much, man. That's
Yeah.
that's some. You watch TV. You watch movies like Top Gun. The plane exploded in midair. That doesn't happen, right?
Right.
They're like that's kind of like what he's. I mean, maybe that was a straw that broke the camel's back as far as his lies. I mean, if anybody wrote a book, if I wrote a book and I was as truthful as I was, somebody would nitpick it and say you're lying about this. And I'd be like, oh well, this is how I remember it. No, you're lying. But the more stuff I saw, I'm like, yeah, he's kind of like he's embellishing. He's lying. He's being a liar. The big one for me was the Ranger School thing. That kind of like sunk his whole like character for me.
Because he had like Brian Stan, who was in the UFC and WC, and no one ever questioned him. Yeah, his stuff all checked out. I don't think anyone ever came along and said.
Well, because he's a Marine. Marines are very smart. They're just kind of like so they're too like.
He was an officer though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he was.
Yeah. But they're like, I'm not gonna lie, I did this. That guy probably did it, right? Because they don't know any. They're a different breed, right? Another average fighter. I mean, he's fun to watch. It's a cool story. Was he in the same class as Tim Kennedy? I was just not thinking. Were they the same weight class or?
I don't recall. He was a good fight. I think he's above average. I don't know.
it was okay. I mean, it was cool. He's a vet, whatever. He's under fighting, the Marine, whatever. I mean, it's cool. I liked him. He was a good guy.
I think for his abilities, he was good for the abilities he did have. I don't think he had like
Yeah, 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 yeah,
athleticism pouring out of his ears, like some guys do.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Yeah, as far as Tim Canny like lying or embellishing the truth, how you want to word it, whatever. Like I'm just keeping the same deal. I think it's a money thing. That's all.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
also I think one thing, and they alluded to this on some shows if people want to go watch them, is that there's a mentality in the military, and I'm sure it's even worse in special forces. Is like, if you go in the military and you don't really do anything, you know, you don't really do anything exciting. Um, People don't feel like their careers worth talking about to anyone, so they BS.
Yeah, like for me, like I can't. I don't like brag about my military. I don't like brag. I mean, I think I really brag about was like maybe chasing chicks. I mean, I might have done some cool stuff, but it sounds cool. But then when I was working, it was like this sucks. Like working Gitmo, like yeah, I'm just dodging shit all day. I'm trying to get shit in my face, literally. I mean, it's not really exciting. I mean,
Yeah, it's same for me. Like being on submarines, people think that they say, "Wow, that must be awesome," but it's like,
no, yeah,
well, first of all, there's no windows on there. It's not like you're seeing what you're doing.
yeah.
They're telling you, this is what we're doing, or this is where we are. You don't even know where you are. You're underwater. All you know is you're in the tube, and you could be anywhere. They
Yeah.
say, okay, this is where we are, or this is what we're doing. All right, it's the same as it was a week ago when we weren't there. You're inside a tube, and you're doing the same things you did somewhere else.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
when I was looking for work, and I was talking to a buddy, and I was like, "Yo, man, why am I not getting hired for these gigs? Like I have the background, it's all right here. I'm writing everything I did, whatever." And he was like, there are guys who worked at Walmart who are lying. I'm not telling you to lie, but you really gotta like spice up your shit a little bit. You gotta like make it more. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, that's what they want. That's what employers or these clients want to see, man. They want to see like, you know, don't go
That's what
overboard.
Jason Simak told me that about his GS resumes.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yeah, like
That's
you
how
gotta
he
make it.
got into some of the positions that he got into.
Oh yeah, you just gotta like you got. And I mean, I remember I worked with a guy. I won't. I'm not gonna say this guy acted all high speed, and I guess like the rumor was he was in the army or some shit like that. And then I'm talking to the guy later on, and he goes, "I wasn't from the army," and I was like, a couple guys are like, "What?" Like everyone tells you in the army. No, I was never in the army, and I was like, and then I was like, they probably lied to somebody, right? And the guy couldn't shoot for anything. He couldn't bro have a barn, and then he couldn't even fucking clean his gun. Like one of the guys, he was like, "Yeah, I had to fucking tell that guy to clean his gun." I tell him to clean his gun. I'd do it for him, show him, and then he flagged everybody on the range. I'm like, "What?" I was, if I got flagged on the range, I'm out of there. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm not trying to get dead on the range. And he got picked up by his detail. I'm like, "You guys hired that guy? He's an idiot." And they left there, and then he got a job as like a director somewhere or whatever. And I'm like, but this guy, he had the gift of gab. He was a really good talker. He made me a believer. And then the only time I caught him was like at the range one day, and I'm like, "What are you doing, man?" "Oh, I'm shooting like this." I go, "What? What? Like, look at you. What? Who taught you?" Like, and then it was obvious, but like his resume, and he talked his way into this one detail at first, and I'm like, "How the fuck? Like that? What?" And me and this other guy I work with were like, "Yo, how are they? Where are they hiring from?" The guys, they just know how to write their shit up. They know how to bullshit an interview, and then you got somebody on the other side, somebody on the other side who doesn't know, doesn't have the knowledge, or doesn't want to like go a little deep. They'll believe it if you convince them. They're like, okay, you look squared away, you look good, you're not a fat piece of shit. You're hired. And it's just some guys are better at putting it to paper or talking the talk. And maybe Tim Kane's one of those guys, man. I haven't seen any. My only issue with this whole stolen valor thing is if he was really a liar, like where are the guys that served with him? Where are the like because everybody has their fucking hater, right? Like if I came out and said some shit, if I wrote a book and it was selling, I can guarantee you I'd have at least 10 guys saying he's a fucking liar. He's a piece of shit. He did this, and this. And that's the only thing I don't see that shit with Tim Kennedy. So far, I haven't heard anybody that has rolled with him, worked with him, fought with him. Nobody has said a word. So that's my only hang up. Like these guys are all killers and they're talking all this shit, but where are the guys that are with them? Where are the other killers that are with them in those situations? Where are those like the 25 grenades thing, right? Okay, if you're lobbing 25 grenades, it's not by yourself, right? There's got to be somebody else throwing grenades with you. Where's that guy at? Because if I was working with somebody, if it was me and you, and you're talking all this shit, and I'm with you, I'd be like, "Yo, man, you're kind of making me look bad with your lies." I might piss me off, and I might out you. Like, where are those guys at? Because there's always one. Someone's not gonna like you. There's always somebody. Like in his case, people who haven't worked with him don't like him, right? Because they say he's lying. But where are the guys that are in his unit or units? Where are those guys at? That's my only I guess benefit of the doubt for Tim.
Well, I haven't seen anybody come out and say I was there with him and he did all the things he said he did.
Yeah, yeah. Also, guys are like, I want no part of your bullshit, bro. You're on your own. I'm not gonna back you. Yeah, I'd be that guy. Like, hey, man, I'm not. I'd probably be that more along those lines. Like, hey, I want no part of your shit, dude. I don't want to get dragged into. I don't want to get dragged down with whatever you're doing. But the more these guys push, he's gonna start losing money, man. Like once you get outed like that, you're gonna start losing money. Like, to the trail. I don't know how much money he's made from the book and the movie, or if he's still making money off of it. But shit, now that I think of it, I was thinking about this earlier. Like a lot of those guys do lie.
We should sue him because he presented a movie to us and we believed it for so many years. He caused us the mental anguish over that.
Yeah. We'll file VA claim. I want to file a claim for fucking, I feel like a piece
No, we
of
should
shit.
sue Hollywood because they told us this was a true story and it is.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is now. After this election, no one's trusting Hollywood at any time. Everyone's like, "Yo, fuck those guys." Everyone's just like, "Yeah, we don't believe you." But back to the lying or embellishing the truth. Like, now that I think about it, I think they all do it, bro. You remember what was the other movie? The other SEAL movie they did? Not Lone Survivor. It was a SEAL played by what's his name? Played him. He was in the A Team. I can't remember the name of the actor, but he played a SEAL in this one movie. The SEAL who got killed had a widow.
Oh, Chris Kyle. Okay, now American Sniper.
Chris Kyle. So he wrote a book, right? May rest in peace. He wrote a book.
When you're talking about the A Team, he must have been in the second version because the first one, that guy wasn't in the A Team.
Yeah,
the original A Team,
No. The second A Team.
Yeah.
The actor the actor played Chris Kyle.
Right.
Okay, so so Chris Kyle, after he died, he got sued. Did you know that? They sued his estate because he said that he punched Jesse Ventura in the face. And Jesse was like, "That didn't happen. I didn't get punched in the face." Like, cause I guess what happened.
You said he knocked Jesse Ventura out in a bar.
Yeah, because Jesse was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm paraphrasing. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but basically, I guess Jesse was like, "Well, yeah, you're a SEAL, but there's so many of you guys now. It's not a big deal if you're a SEAL now. Back when I was in Vietnam, there's only like 500 of us. Now there's like thousands of you guys. And then I guess Chris Kyle in his book said that he fucking knocked him out or some shit in the right. And then Jesse sued his state and he won, right. So that kind of made him a liar, right? So that's another like embellished truth, like he slandered Jesse Ventura, right? Yeah, he slandered him, and then I guess they're not. I guess that community isn't nice to Jesse either because he sued this guy his widow had to pay whatever he sued for, you know. So I mean, I think the SEAL guys are more guilty of embellishing the truth than Green Berets are. So
It's
and now that
interesting how that happens. I think they have more of a, like you said, more of a. There's more fame in being a SEAL, it seems.
yeah. So I mean, I guess it's the norm now to just kind of make stuff up and no one's really gonna like I don't know
Because
why
they're
he would say
saying even Jocko too. That he's
yeah.
not.
What's Jocko's deal? What's I don't
I
know
don't
about.
know.
I've heard them like mention his name. Like there's another guy, Jocko, but I'm like, he looks pretty serious. This guy
He
here
was
has his.
Chris Kyle's CO, wasn't he?
I
He
don't know.
was, yeah. Chris
I don't
Kyle was.
know
He was
really.
his command officer. Yeah,
Oh wow,
yeah,
I didn't know that. I don't
yeah.
I don't follow his page either. I mean, I see some of his motivational stuff. Like those are pretty cool, but I don't know what they're saying he's lying about. But he's probably doing the same thing. He's got a lot of money now. He parlayed his probably got a nice. Actually, he retired right from the Navy, I think.
They were
Right.
saying that he was the kind of guy that would send people like Chris Kyle out there to cut people down, but he never would go out there and do it, at all.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's an officer, man. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, okay. Yeah, like,
But the image he created was something other
oh
than
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, that's the only school in the military, I think, and hope no one knocks me being if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sorry, but I believe that's the only school in the military where officers enlisted are in together is in buds. So and I heard I talked to a couple guys, here or there, like if there's one guy was like, yeah, I was enlisted. I forgot. It was like a third party story, and he was saying like, yeah, I was enlisted, and then I became an ensign in the SEAL community, and it was like, cool. I'm an ensign now, but I'm based just another shooter, So, but then officer once they kind of start climbing, they stop getting their hands dirty, 'cause I guess I'm not sure how their community works exactly as far as war fighting, like what's at what pay grade do they stop being shooters? Is it lieutenant? Is it lieutenant commander? Like, when do they stop being on, in the field like that? What did Jocko retire as anyway? Is he retired from the Navy?
No, I would assume so. I don't
Yeah,
know a lot about, all these things. I really don't know a lot about them until this stuff kind of popped up, because I don't read
yeah. Something I
military.
really.
I do watch the movies, like Lone Survivor I watched, American
Yeah,
Sniper I watched, but the books I didn't read.
yeah. I think I read. I believe I read Lone Survivor years ago. Like, don't ask me to regurgitate anything I read. With my brain injuries, whatever, getting hit in the head. But yeah, I read the book. I guess I was on deployment one time. I read a book here or there. But like Tim Kennedy's book, like I don't know. Like I'm not. I guess I'm not the target audience. For
Right.
his shenanigans. Like he's probably catering more to like younger guys. More like conservative, right wing maybe guys who want to like do all the badass stuff, and that's cool. I just don't. Like I said, I'm not gonna be like I'm gonna get the new Tim Kennedy T-shirt. Like, no, I don't give a fuck. Yeah,
Yeah. But it is an interesting story, and it kind of interlocks with MMA. Like we were
yeah.
talking about, he probably used some of that to parlay
Oh yeah,
his
yeah,
ascension in MMA.
yeah. Because I mean, like, if you think about it, like if I was in the UFC, and I'm just a regular Navy, quartermaster, right? I'm not gonna like. Oh yeah, that guy was in the military, but he's an average fighter, and I mean, he beat some guys, but his backstory isn't. We're not gonna really promote this guy, but then, and like I said, I see him on the show all the time. Like,
Quartermaster, like plotting out maps.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
then, like other, like like I see all the time in my industry, like and then this other guy is like, look, he says he did this, this, and this, and that's more interesting. Let's promote that guy. Let's hire that guy. Let's give this guy the book deal. Let's feed him a couple things, and get him going. So yeah, I think he definitely used that to parlay. I mean, he was on History Channel. He had a series on History Channel, like, searching out Hitler, and because he's an army, he's a combat vet fighter, he's checks all the boxes, whatever. Like, oh, let's give him a slot in a TV show too, and he's making money. I'll be honest, bro. If I was in the same shoes, bro, I'd probably be embellishing the truth too. I'd probably embellish it a little bit as well until somebody called me out, and then I'd be like,
I
fight me.
don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because of being on submarines and it's kind of like real secretive. Even though, like I said, it's not necessarily all that interesting, but a lot of things they would tell us, like, if we were on a plane, not if someone tried to strike up a conversation with us, not, don't wear your uniform. They just didn't want people talking to us,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like that, because, we might say something we shouldn't have said, you know.
yeah. Leak some stuff, like all that intelligence gathering. I mean, I don't think I'd fake
Yeah.
wars. Definitely, I would definitely talk stories like that if I was,
Yeah,
if
they'd
I
be
was,
like, we don't want you to say something, some guy that you probably shouldn't have said, and you get in trouble. And
yeah,
they were just having a conversation with you, but somebody heard it, or maybe the person behind you heard it, or
yep, yeah. Like those. You ever watch those movies? The author, the guy who wrote the books, Tom Clancy. He wrote like Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games, whatever. So like, I saw one time because we're in the military because I teach you this. They teach you this in like all those classes, like the like you know uh all those whatever those NKO courses, whatever. Like lose ship, sink ship. Be careful what you say to you. You may what you say isn't much, but it's a part of a puzzle. Blah blah. So I can like in Tom Clancy, he I guess he said that he like how you have all these details from all these weapons in your movies, whatever. And he was like, yeah, all I did was like sit outside the gate at a coffee shop in front of Norfolk, whatever. I don't know where. I don't know why you do that, but and he just sat out there and like would just have breakfast, and he would like just talk to random guys. Hey, tell me more. What we do in the Navy, like what? Because that's how they get their information, right? Like because we're nobody, right? And we think what we have is, oh, I'm just a cook, whatever. I'm just doing this, and he start talking. Oh, that's a cool story, man. Yeah, thanks. Guys, fucking write his notes down. Talks to another guy who slips up, whatever, and next thing you know, he's got this fucking kick at. He has this scene for his book or his movie. Uh, guys talk and sometimes guys ramble. And I ran into a guy one time on a when I was a civilian. I did my 3 years and I got out and I came back in. So during my break in service, I remember I was on this plane and there was this kid on the fucking plane and he was just talking up a storm, bro. I work for this admiral, blah blah. I'm his assistant, blah blah blah. He just talking away, bro. And I'm just sitting there. I'm sitting next to this guy, like I knew he was bullshit, and he was like a seaman. He's just. And he looked over at me. He goes, "Are you in the military?" And I go, "You in the military?" No, were you? I'm like, "Yeah." And he kind of got quiet. He got really quiet. I just kind of looked at him like, "Please stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Like this is bad." Uh, and so I guess a lot of these guys are doing the same thing. I mean, if I was out, in LA and I ran into some celebrity and he's talking to me and I said I was in the Navy and he wants to hear more, I'd probably be like, I'd be all excited talking, telling stories. I don't know how much I would talk up, but maybe that's what's going on with him. He just got going, got famous. Hey, tell us a story again, man. Oh yeah, and then it just gets better and better. But we're Americans, all right. We're tall talkers. That's kind of like that's no one talks about that. Like we tell a lot of tall stories. I mean, he just got carried away. Now people in his his crew or his community are like, okay, stop, that's enough. So yeah, I think for Tim now, the party might be over, dude. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like McGregor. You know, he's found civilly liable for his sex assault. Did you see that in Ireland?
No, no.
This girl, he had this like back in I want to say 2018 was actually when the incident happened. And you know, McGregor, he's got a live-in girlfriend or whatever. This girl that's been with him forever. And at the time, she was home pregnant with like one of his kids. I don't know, maybe his third kid, second kid, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, he's out partying, using drugs and drinking and all that. And he met up with these girls that he knew that he had been texting with on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
And this was in Dublin, Ireland, and he took him to this hotel suite, and I guess he had sex with one of them like 2 times, you know, unprotected sex with one of them twice. And this all came out in court because he had to testify, you know, in his own defense.
Yeah.
And you know, they couldn't bring a criminal case against him because criminal case you got to have proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil case you don't. In a civil case you just got to be liable in the eyes of the jury. And so it was him and this other guy, James Lawrence, who was with him. You know, both of them had sex with this woman, actually. And they found McGregor civilly liable, but Lawrence no, for assault, you know. Because she had bruising and all kinds of, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's not really the fact that he was civilly liable, but, you know, like Proper 12 has already dropped him. All these sponsors that he had, they've cut him off. The Hitman video game, they dropped him. You know, all these things that he was doing business with dropped him. And I don't think it was the fact that he was held civilly liable, because a lot of people thought the case was kind of flimsy. But the fact that all this stuff came public that he had to testify to, everybody knew he was behaving in this manner. But once it became once it became public, once he had to say it out loud, you know.
So you think that's going to end up happening to Tim Kennedy here coming up?
I don't know. It depends on how bad it gets.
I mean, you said
how
that
loud
thing,
yeah.
I mean, just because I mean, before I was like, oh, it's not still in Valor, but then now he's like wearing an award that he doesn't have supposedly, right?
No, he said he had an award, and in pictures he wasn't wearing it. So guys are saying you never got this award.
Oh, okay. And that's the case, man. I don't know, man. I don't. That's not bad, bro.
Valor and Purple Heart is what it was.
Yeah, a Purple Heart.
Because he said he got badly injured in Iraq or Afghanistan, and he doesn't have a Purple Heart on his DD-214. You know.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know why you would brag about that, but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, if you say you have it and then you're not wearing it, those two things, like, for me, I had so many racks, I had so many rows of ribbons, right? I'm a dipshit. I'm like, okay, I got this, and then like I get my shit together and I'd wear it, and then I'd be like, oh, I forgot to put this ribbon on, or I forgot this Bronze Star, because I think I had like 8 NAMs. I was in the Navy. I kind of like lost count of how many I had, right? So that's why I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound too bad as far as, well, maybe you forgot to put it on.
Yeah, people don't realize how much a pain in the neck it is to put all that stuff. I mean, you have one that you keep, you know, that you can put on, you know, but organizing it, and if you have to do it again, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So that's the thing. It's a pain in the ass, and then fucking like it's a pain in the ass, and if you miss something, there's always gonna be some dipshit that's gonna fucking call you out, right? And hey, you didn't do this correctly. Like, hey, bro, I didn't know. Sorry. Like for us, it was I think you're out by then. You know the East Wasp pin, right? East Wasp pin. When you wear the Type threes, right? In dress uniform, it's either if it's East Wasp pin, it's silver. If it's a swole pin, it's gold. But what people don't realize is there's a slight difference in those pins, right? I don't know if you know what difference is. Like maybe just has like the cutlass, I guess, for the ship, whatever. But officers have the saber, and so I catch guys. I'd be like looking at the uniform. I'm like, hey man, you have on the wrong device. I do like, yeah, you have on the swole pin. You have an E. And they wouldn't change it. Hey man, you need to fix that. Uh that's like minute. It's so small. It's black. You can't, unless you're really looking, you really can't tell. But then once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like, you got to see it and get rid of it. Uh, but him forgetting to put on his uniform, you know. And then I've also heard of guys like not bragging about Purple Hearts, because there's some say Purple Hearts having it's enemy marksmanship ribbon, so maybe that's the case. Maybe you want to wear it because you're not proud of having it, you know.
Enemy marksmanship.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's still probably a badass in his own right.
Yeah, that's what I
Fighter.
was saying. Why do you need it? You had an interesting life. Isn't that enough?
Yeah, isn't yeah. I think in the end, like I said, he just got greedy. Like the fame, relevant money, he just got a little too greedy. Sung a book. If you're trying to sell a book, I'd probably be like, Doc, I would try and maximize my shit. I may even try to squeeze a couple things that aren't really true or like made up, just to kind of keep it interesting, because it's a book. You gotta put money into your book. You gotta sell it, whatever, right? But I'd probably add stuff on there that was like, what that wasn't like maybe like a long piece of shit. It would be obvious. It was like, okay, he's probably making that part up. It sounds cool. It's believable. Uh, yeah, part of me wants to, part of me wants to read his book, but maybe I'll listen to it on ebook, or audio book. Like, okay, I don't read your shit because it's probably full of shit. Now that I heard all this stuff, but let me listen to your book on audio form and see like what kind of shit. But like I said, it's not a book I would read because I really can't relate to it, right? I don't know anything about. I know about shooting, not a distance like that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just curious how far it's going to go. Because you mentioned Conor McGregor, right? Like, I'm wondering, like, when, like, the whole awards thing, right? Like, if the sound gets loud enough, his unit could be like, we're gonna send you to NJP, Article 15. We're looking, and you said you had this, and it's not there. So, but I don't. Is he still in the reserve? Is he still in National Guard? He can't.
I
There's
don't
no way.
know. Yeah,
I don't think. Let me see. Is he still in the fucking? Let me look.
I think he might be a contractor or something still.
See. Tim Kennedy, National Guard. Let's see. It says according to Wikipedia, he is a, let's see. It says Wikipedia, I don't know. National Veterans Memorial. I don't know, Tim Kennedy. I'm not gonna look anymore, bro.
No, I looked at it earlier. Let's see. M. Kennedy. I'll get it. Kennedy announces reenlistment, U.S. Army. Prison. I guess it says he reenlisted in 2017.
Okay, so he might be out by now.
It doesn't say that he ever is out. Doesn't say he retired.
So they could like be like, hey, we're gonna take you to Article 15 because you're I forget what the UCMJ violation is, whatever statute is. They can if they take him the NJP, then that might kind of like tarnish his fucking money making scheme, whatever's got going on. maybe,
If he
right?
went in 2004 and he's still in now, that'd be like 20 years. So he'd be right around the end, you would think.
Well, no, if you're no, because if you're National Guard, if you're National Guard, you have to hit like it just it's not the same as as
Right,
active.
right.
Yeah, so like they have to get so many points. I mean, he can't collect retirement until he's like 60, I guess. I think that's how it works for the reserves. So not until you're 60. So
Right, but I mean, he can leave the service
yeah, yeah, yeah,
as a
yeah, yeah.
retired person,
Yeah.
right?
So,
At
uh,
20 or so.
well,
It's
at,
not like automatic like you when you retired, right?
well, I don't know if you know this. You don't really, you're not really retired at 20 years. You go to like it's like fleet reserve. So like technically, I'm still like bound by the UCMJ.
Right, but you get a pension, no?
Yeah, I get a pension, but I'm
And
not
and
officially.
it's immediate.
Yeah, but I'm not officially retired until 30 years. So I hit the 30-year mark. Not until 2030. I'm not officially retired. But like, yeah, but
You
he's the national.
civilians out there, all you civilians there, listen, you don't get immediate pension like him. So that might be one reason to go in. You'd be lucky to find that anywhere.
Oh yeah, not
You won't
days.
find it anywhere.
No,
Not in civilian world, you're not finding it. I'm sorry.
nope, nope. I think the most you get is like 401k matching or like stock options.
And that's not going to be immediate. If you take that out before you're 59 and a half, you're going to get taxed on it.
Yep.
25%.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, man. It's rough in these streets, man.
Yeah.
It's rough.
So people that want to go in the military, that might be an incentive for you to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, now they
I
have that
kind of
new.
wish I had done, sort of. I kind of sort of wish I had, but
Yeah,
you know,
I don't miss it at all. Like I never like, oh, I missed. Like I don't miss any of that shit. But it's nice to get my, my retirement check, my disability check. That really helps. That's like, like I don't have to work as hard or as
yeah,
much.
I know guys that don't do anything,
And
or if they
yeah.
or if they lose their job, they don't care.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to where if I lose my job, I'm like, it's okay. I'm good.
Yeah,
My dream is like eventually like go overseas somewhere, where it's nice and warm. A lot of
I
hot
told
chicks.
you where you can go. I can make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I knew a guy. I knew a guy. I don't talk to him anymore. He's kind of a super libtard, dipshit. But he retired in the Philippines. I don't talk to him anymore. I think he was talking about moving to Thailand eventually at one point. But yeah, that's kind of the part of the world I want to move to.
I just keep you up in the mountains, away from
All the drama.
the scammy types.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the last time I was in the Philippines was back in like I was there back in 2000 2006, maybe 2007. I was in Zamboanga.
Oh my God, why?
Yeah, yeah, I was in Mindanao. I was down there, and then I did R&R.
Why?
Huh?
Why were you in Zamboanga for?
Oh, because I was deployed there. I was deployed to Zamboanga. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So you are at least able to protect yourself.
yeah. So I was in Zamboanga on this on this
A
base.
YouTuber got kidnapped and killed there like just a few months ago in Zamboanga.
Really?
Yeah, he was pretty young. His name was Elliot Eastman, and
Uh-huh.
he looked pretty young. He looked maybe in his 20s, and I guess he married some girl down there, Muslim girl. I think first he had married one girl, and then they didn't work out, and then he married a different girl. But he's doing these YouTube videos. You can go back and watch them, which is kind of sad because you know the house he's living in is it was pretty clear the family didn't have much money, and he did have some, but it's not like he was making them live lavishly or anything.
Yeah,
He was helping out, but and he was loaning money to people at interest, like a loan shark sort of, which probably was
yeah.
not a good idea. But people started coming to the house and telling him, look, there's people out here that are preparing to kidnap you from this house. They had warned him multiple times, him and the family, you know, which makes me think the kidnappers didn't really want to have to do it. They wanted him to leave. They didn't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
him there anymore because otherwise they wouldn't have given him no warning. They just would have went there. But eventually, some guys showed up about four of them. They were dressed as police officers. They had M16s, and he tried to resist, and one of them shot him in the leg, in and out. and he
Yeah, yeah.
bled, and they threw him in a boat. They were driving down to the water, and he expired. He died,
Man,
and they just tossed him over the side. But his body washed up. I watched video of some people fishing him out of the water, and couldn't see his head, but you saw his feet and his body. They were pulling him out. Um, but yeah, he was in Zamboanga del Norte, and people are like, "Why are you there? What were you thinking? Why?"
I met a guy when I was living in San Diego, my first marriage, and he was married to a Filipino lady. My kid's school is one of my wife's friends. So I'm going to Philippines. I'm like, oh yeah, what part? Oh, Zamboanga. I'm like, what? Like, what? He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, that place is fucking dangerous as fuck. But when I was down there, they kidnapped some Italian priests when I was down there.
Mhm.
That's not the place to hang out. But I did
Right.
fly up to Angeles City, not Angeles. What's the city? Manila. I was in Makati hanging out for R&R for a couple of days with some Marines and one of my coworkers.
Yeah, Manil's a zoo, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where
Yep.
my wife lives, it's nothing like that. It's like I wouldn't say there's even 1,000 people where she lives.
Really?
Probably less than that, maybe 700.
Oh
And
shit.
it's just up in the mountains. It looks like Colorado with no snow. It looks the same. And yeah, it's just most people know each other. They can police the area pretty well because of that. They don't have any kind of, like, I was asking the mayor, the ex-mayor, who's my wife's brother, and saying, you have drugs up here? And he's like, no, if we did, everyone would know who was doing it, you know?
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we can kind of take
Keep a
care of
nice.
those. Yeah. He's like,
Yeah, I know.
everyone would know
I
someone was doing
know a
something.
guy I used to work with. He's there now. He's a Filipino guy. Ike. His name is Ike, and he's living the dream. He's like medically retired. He's living the dream out there, bro. He
Yeah, they
stays in.
changed the laws. If you have a pension like you do, you can retire at like 50 there. They have a special
Really?
visa. Yeah, for military guys, they have a special visa you can get.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah. If you have a pension, I think you put X amount of money into a Philippine bank. It's not a lot. And
Uh,
if you have a pension, no problem.
so can you buy property there as an American? You have to be married to a
You
Filipina.
could own an apartment outright. You could own an apartment outright. A house, you could own the house, but not the land it's on. Apartment, if you want to buy an apartment in Manila or anywhere else, you could.
Okay.
And that would be your apartment, unless they tore the building down or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or decide to sell it. But it would be yours.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed the laws. I'll send you the visa. I think it's called SRRP or something like that. And
Yeah,
it's strictly for military retirees. 50 years old, you can get it.
damn, I'm a couple years shy then, bro. I'm
Yeah,
almost there, man.
yeah. 50 years old, you can retire there, no problem. They'll get your visa done for you. Yep.
Yeah, I hear they have like a big VA hospital in Manila too.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about it. I've heard like they only treat things that you were disabled for. I don't know if that's true or not. Because like at the one here, I get all kinds of stuff done. I've
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
surgeries at the VA hospital here. I didn't pay a dime. You know.
Yeah, with the VA, once you're over 50%, they cover everything as far as what's wrong with you. Doesn't matter if you claimed it or not. It's over 50%, they got you.
Right.
Yeah, but I heard that I think it's the biggest one outside the US is in Manila, is what I heard. Uh, but
That's what I'm saying, man. It's the way to go if you unless you want to work until you're 60 or something.
shit, I probably
I
have more time.
don't.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
got
want to.
and all reality, bro, and in all reality, bro, like right now with all my bills and shit, my big thing is my kid. I got 9 more years because my kid is. So I got at least, you know, finish paying off that bill, you know. And so 9 years, I'll be what? I'll be close to 60, dude. So I kind of have to work. I gotta keep working.
Yeah.
I could stop working, but then I'd have to go to like court and stuff and like lower my fucking child support to like, And then they'd be like, "Oh, you're never here, so now you got to pay more money. You got to pay a big chunk of your fucking, child. I'm literally on the thumb of the government at this point, just because I have a kid. It's
Well,
shitty.
it's good to talk about this stuff. I don't want to have to get too much in your personal life.
Yeah. No worries.
But maybe if you have a business or something you want to talk about or tell people about or anything.
I had a Jeep business. I got out of it. Couldn't afford it, man. Just kind of a rough deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, COVID
Yeah, I
kind of
remember
sucked.
you saying you had that.
Yeah, COVID kind of sank it. Now it's like my membership only, whatever. Like, because I mean, like when COVID hit, all the like the supplies, whatever, got all backed up, and like I remember I had an axle on my Jeep that an accident. I need a new one, and we can get you a new one in a year. Like what? 8 months to a year? Like yeah, everything's backed up, and I'm like, huh? Just not really profitable. So yeah, I don't. Nope, nothing to promote, man.
All right. Well, everybody check this out. Like I said, you can check out other episodes that Raphael's been on. I think he's been on a couple of them with me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
every now and then he comes on to do something out of the box a little bit. But he did
yeah,
wrestle. Raphael's a very good wrestler and all Navy team. And when we trained in Japan, he was the best wrestler that was there. So
yeah. I miss wrestling.
yeah,
Try and get back into it, man. Now places offer wrestling, or they don't want you there. It's only for like kids, or it's super duper clicky. Jiu-jitsu is super expensive now to go train anywhere.
they have some here in Oklahoma. Some wrestling academies where adults are there.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Oklahoma,
yeah,
makes sense. But yeah, up where I'm at, man, like I try going up like Chico, and they're like really like, oh well, no, or it's a private club, and I'm like, what? Like,
yeah.
all right, they don't want to get tossed, they don't want to get lamb chopped, so whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that kind of goes along with the stolen valor, lamb chop. Yeah.
Oh yeah, lamb chop. Yeah, I almost fell on that guy. Yeah. I always wonder like what happened to him after. We never saw him ever again.
Yeah, I don't.
I never saw him on base. Nothing. Never came across him. I think before he got lamb chopped, I heard him running his mouth in the commissary one day, and I was like, I heard a guy talking shit. And that's
Yeah,
him. I'm like, hey, when he showed up, I was like, yep, you learned today, buddy.
yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah,
I think he did come back after you left, after you PCS.
really. Yeah, I
Yeah,
never. Maybe he was peeking the door. Oh no, I'm not going in there again. Right. Hey, is that guy gone? Yeah. Okay, I'll come back now.
yeah.
Come back and roll.
All right, man. It was great talking to you about this stuff. Appreciate you taking the time.
You're welcome.
Everybody, I hope you enjoyed Raphael's segment. And until next time, take care.
Hola, soy Litzy La Bomba Dilene, boxeadora profesional de México, y estás viendo el show de Todd Atkins, en donde verás y escucharás a grandes talentos del boxeo. No te lo puedes perder.